morning, everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you for putting up with my American English. Appreciate you guys for coming today. So today we're going to talk about AI in logistics, what really works, and hopefully giving you guys some ideas on what some of those first steps to take or the next steps to take for you and your team to actually make logistics, or AI, pardon me, add value and not simply a chore, a task, or another failed implementation. So let's get started with a number that really stuck out to me. A few months ago, MIT, a project called Project Ananda, surveyed a few hundred firms representing tens of billions of dollars of generative AI investment at the enterprise level. And 95% of those respondents said they had achieved or gained zero value from that investment, from those efforts. Endava's perspective is very much so believes that this was caused because people often treat AI as a silver bullet, as a magical fix, when in reality it's a tool, a powerful one, but like any other tool, it needs to be utilized and applied in the right way and on the right problems to gain that value. It's not going to fix everything too quickly. So a brief overview, who's Endava? We are a global consultancy and IT services firm. We've been in business for over 25 years, over 20 years working in supply chain operations and IT. Our AI team has been around for years as well, and our experience on the ground in implementing AI in logistics and supply chain organizations continues to grow. We are also partners with some of the biggest firms in AI today. As you can see, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, the list goes on. And so our perspective is that this experience, plus these partnerships with leading firms, gives us the ability to sit here and have that conversation that really digs into your problem, helps you identify where an opportunity for AI might be. And then we bring the technological expertise to help you bring that idea, that solution, to life in a way that will help you, your teams, and actually provide some value in the short term, in the medium term, and hopefully in the long term as well. So, what works today? What has Endava done with our clients? What do we see in the market? First and foremost, optimization is a huge opportunity for this advancement in technology, if you will. On the operations side, you can think of the macro scale of transportation networks and inventory management across larger organizations, all the way down to the warehouse or warehouse automation, increasing efficiency and throughput. On the IT side of the house, you can think about how AI can make your IT landscape a little easier to use, easier to navigate, perhaps in speeding up onboarding for a new IT resource and making it easier to use and easier to find where a problem might be or where the answer might be than it had been in the past. One thing that I think is cool in the optimization space is what other companies are already doing. You can think about Uber Freight using machine learning algorithms for pricing and routing. So they're increasing their margins, decreasing their empty miles. You can think about UPS and their homegrown Orion system, another great application of AI for routing, reducing empty miles, reducing miles traveled, saving gas, reducing emissions. And last but certainly not least, an example that's cool for me as an American, Walmart uses AI for network-wide inventory management. So we're seeing cost savings of a wide variety, of course, all the way down to increased in-stock levels at individual stores. And for me, the biggest benefit there is reduced lost sales. Right? We all want to make money. Making sure that inventory is available is pretty valuable for those folks. And then other areas where AI can be added to your existing tech stack or where it can augment your processes that are critical are things like forecasting, planning, preventative maintenance, or different elements of sustainability. And that's one element of what we at Endava like to do is augmenting your existing systems. AI does not need to rip out your core technology or replace it. we can add things on top of that and make it more intelligent, make it more usable, make it more valuable for your operations or for your team. We actually just completed a project with a client of ours, a warehouse automation provider, and we built an AI wrapper around their existing product. So we didn't touch their code base, we didn't touch their data sets, we're just utilizing that data separately. And it gave their folks in the warehouse the ability to use natural language to query the database, get those answers more quickly without having to type in SQL or some other database language. It gave the leaders nuanced, more tailored feedback to make decisions on how to use their capacity. And for me, the coolest thing that this product did was AI-supported KPI monitoring and root cause analysis. It didn't fully automate root cause analysis, but it did certainly enhance it and increase the speed with which problems are solved. And we're hearing more about how it's more robustly solving those problems for the warehouse. And so that issue with this tote or that package is fixed today, but also for tomorrow. So what lessons have we learned as Endava working with our clients? A few. First and foremost, like with any other technology project, AI projects need to start with a business case. What value are we looking to achieve? What KPI are we going to measure success against? And thinking for the next step, if this pilot or proof of concept, which is how we like to start these things, if it works, can we scale it? Do we have the foundation, the people to make this worthwhile for our broader organization and not just in a controlled environment? Next, speaking of people, where do your teams stand today? What skills do you have that can be a foundational piece for a new experiment like this? Or what skills do you need to enhance or augment to make sure you are prepared for not just the development and design of a product that is AI native, but something that can be useful for the business going forward? It's not quite as easy as it may seem. Next, you need to be thinking about what risk these new types of products will inevitably bring into your business, and designing and planning to mitigate those within the initial phases and not trying to figure them out as we get towards production, perhaps. Risk needs to be fundamental, data security, privacy, the list goes on. We don't want to get you in trouble, so plan ahead. And last and certainly not least, what does your technology stack today look like? Frankly, AI, like I said, it's a great tool, but it needs a solid foundation of technology, data, and interconnectivity to work at scale. So perhaps in order to bring AI into your ecosystem, the first step is not building out a new algorithm, but instead building a stronger foundation with which that algorithm can be built upon in the future. So you need to think about have an honest assessment of where you are today so we can get to where you want to go tomorrow. And what does this mean for you in the future? AI, as I'm sure you know, is changing quickly, as are our understanding, our team's understanding of what these systems can do. What cannot be done today may very easily be achievable tomorrow. So be flexible, be patient, and give your teams the chance to learn, not just what these systems do, but how they can use it to make their lives easier. That trust and the evolution of that symbiotic relationship between us as individuals and teams and these computers that are becoming more intelligent, more nuanced in their understandings of what we're trying to do, it's going to take time. Not only is the the development of this technology a process and evolution, so is how we use it. So be patient, and value will come, but teams need to learn. I've seen too many implementations of machine learning algorithm go south because leaders expected things in 6 weeks to be materially better than what their teams that have been doing this for 20 years can produce. That's not often going to be the case. Be patient, learn with your teams, support them, but in a controlled environment, right? As I mentioned briefly, Endava's approach is proof of concepts or pilots. Let's figure out what data you have, what business case is valuable, where can a small improvement produce outsized value. Let's start with those, right? And frankly, on top of machine learning and some of those more common chatbots, perhaps, there are technologies that are available today that are tremendously, or could be, pardon me, tremendously impactful for logistics and supply chain organizations. One I'm sure you've heard of is agentic AI. Those bots, how they interact together, can solve some very complex problems in ways that chatbots and humans cannot. So there's a lot of value to be had there if things are developed and implemented correctly. Another one that's pretty cool, that's a little newer to me, is called Graph AI, which is a way of perhaps think about network optimization. It's a more intelligent version of that can be tailored a bit to the nuances, the qualitative elements of your business in ways that existing software might not be able to. And something that I'm seeing a lot recently, and it ties back to the evolution of the software, but also how we utilize and how we understand that software. Perhaps you've heard of the term human in the loop, where AI is set up to do a lot of the number crunching, a lot of the analysis and assessment for a problem or a process, and the human is the validation or the judgment at the end, ensuring the output is what we expect or is going to be heading in the right direction. As we understand more about what these technologies can do, and admittedly what they cannot do, what we're seeing is perhaps more of a quote-unquote AI in the loop. So that balance between what the system is doing and what you or your teams are doing is in flux, because we realize that AI is not that magical solution. It is indeed something that can make certain, perhaps more mundane tasks easier, but it may not always have that expertise, that nuance that your team has. So each situation is unique, and you need to be willing and able to be flexible in the application of this software or these types of softwares so that it fits your team's problem and makes their life easier and gives them a chance to be more valuable to your organization. So last but not least, I'll leave you with perhaps a condensed version of Endava's approach to AI here. Start small. As I mentioned, proof of concepts, pilots, experiment and iterate. Just like we did back in middle school when you had to test something in chemistry class and you didn't get it right the first time. Not every project in AI is going to be perfect the first time around. Give your teams the chance to learn, capture those lessons learned, in fact, and build upon that the next time. And look for, as I mentioned, where a small improvement can provide material value, financial, operational, otherwise. Build readiness. These types of implementations, these types of products take people, data, technology, and a lot of patience. So let your teams learn and grow with them. And last but not least, never forget why we started this in the first place. Technology for the sake of technology is never a guarantee of return. Remember what business value you were focusing on in the beginning, and don't lose sight of that even as the solution or the product changes shape and changes scope. That's it. Thank you, guys.